Before we start, the City Council just met on one closed session item, and there is nothing to report out at this time. Good evening, and thank you for viewing the December 4th meeting of the Arcata City Council. The City Council meeting is being held as a hybrid meeting with both in-person attendance and teleconference access via Zoom. We'll start with the land acknowledgement. The City of Arcata acknowledges that the lands we are located on are the unceded ancestral lands of the Wiyot tribe. The land that Arcata rests on is known in the Wiyot language as Gudini, meaning over in the woods or among the redwoods. Past actions by local, state, and federal governments removed the Wiyot and other indigenous peoples from the land and threatened to destroy their cultural practices. The City of Arcata acknowledges the Wiyot community, their elders, both past and present, as well as future generations. This acknowledgement seeks to aid in dismantling the legacy narratives of settler colonialism. If you would like to, please join me for the flag salute. Will the city clerk please call roll?
Mayor Matthews.
Here.
Vice Mayor Stillman. Present. Councilmember Schaefer.
Here.
Councilmember Atkins Salazar.
Here.
Councilmember White.
Here.
All present.
Okay, first we have ceremonial matters. The first item is proclamation in recognition of Human Rights Awareness Month, December 2024, and this proclamation will be read by Councilmember Stillman.
Thank you. So Human Awareness Month, December 2024. Whereas the United States Assembly adopted the Universal Declaration of Human Rights in December 1948, and this marked the first attempt in human history to set down the minimum rights every person should enjoy. And whereas in 2024, public awareness and the lack of civility has grown among groups of people and individuals in their ability to discuss topics of the day without anger or fear, and whereas speech, whether free or inhibited, is now strained by intolerant adversities and from a multitude of pressures, including but not limited to statements by family members, public officials, on social media, in schools, and whereas hate speech, intolerant language, bias, discrimination have led to actions which are physically violent, emotionally intimidating, and in some cases cause physical harm. And such tranquility our community expects and deserves. And whereas, while Humboldt County represents a small, mostly rural population in the framework of our country, we must all act in ways that are big and small to change the climate within our control and strive to uphold and defend the right of free speech. And whereas in December 2024, individuals, local organizations, agencies, departments, elected officials, public servants choose a different path, a path that acknowledges peace, harmony, and human rights for all. In doing so, we vow to engage hate at all levels during our 2025 human rights and freedom for fear not to exist for people or to exist for anybody. Now therefore it be proclaimed that the City of Arcata hereby recognizes December 2024 as the Human Rights Awareness Month and encourages all residents to educate themselves about the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, to value the privileges and freedoms we enjoy in our diverse society, and to promote engagement in causes that promote the right and welfare of all members in our community, especially among our youth. During this time, we advocate for special civic engagement to occur, for personal reflections to take place, and for continued efforts to educate the public and for the community effort to use kindness instead of hate, regardless of the personal perceptions and political views. Dated December 4th, 2024, signed by Mayor Matthews, and the proclamation is going to be accepted by Jim Glower, Chair of the Commission. Thank you, Jim.
I would like to thank the City of Arcata for the proclamation that you've just read, and for recognizing that human rights are in jeopardy throughout the world, and that includes the United States. No one should be complacent at this time in our history that our own personal status cannot be challenged, changed, or endangered. That is why issuing this proclamation is especially significant right now. There has been a great deal of discussion about the rights of immigrants throughout the last few months. There is every reason to believe this will continue and perhaps get more intense in the coming months. Neighbors, friends, family members, co-workers, and others within our remote North Coast County could be at risk, sometimes without any just cause. For this reason, we wish to remind everyone this evening of a serious action taken in 2018, making Humboldt County a sanctuary county. In taking that action, the Board of Supervisors was pledging to protect legal immigration and to state clearly as possible that this county would not be improperly intimidated into taking actions that utilize any county resources, manpower, and finances to support unwarranted actions against our neighbors and friends. It is always clear that a sanctuary ordinance such as this can be written to allow for a lot of wiggle room when push comes to shove. But your commission, the Human Rights Commission, urges all office holders to fully respect the will of our voters and do everything you can to take a strong stand each and every time an opportunity presents itself, whether through your offices, county offices, the sheriff's office, and other entities. As I spoke of initially, your Human Rights Commission appreciates your highlighting a dedication to all our residents. But now you may need to back that dedication up with a determination to stand up and do what is morally and ethically right. Remember, the sanctuary ordinance exists. Remember your neighbors and friends when they need you the most. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Okay, we'll move on to council and staff reports. City Manager Perry, do you have a report?
Yeah, just a few things. I wanted to report. One, I had the pleasure of being a participant at the Cal Poly Humboldt President's Advisory Committee last week, and it was great to hear what some of their plans are and their desire to hear from the community what some of the priorities are for the university, and to really get some things going before the new president is selected and shows up. So it was really a privilege to be able to be there and to be able to provide input to the university. Another more fun item, if you see a lot of police cars going out of town tomorrow, they've asked to do an escort for the Arcata High School football team, which won the North Coast Section Championship and is moving on in the state. So I think they just got that request tonight, and that they're going to do their best to provide that escort out of town tomorrow to celebrate the first victory in a long, long time for Arcata High School. A couple of other things that we've been discussing at the staff level. There's been a lot of commenters who have been asking to get more specific information about what the city's doing, and in particular on a number of issues, whether that's homelessness, whether that's thinking about race and equity within the city of Arcata, thinking about winter warming shelters. And so on January 15th, we're going to have an assortment of staff reports from our departments, really just giving some updates on some of the specific things that we are doing and that we can report out on, and where we are making significant progress. So, really just to kind of reflect back that we're hearing what these comments are, and we'd like to be able to address them and share where our progress is. And then also, I just remind folks that we can't comment on specific cases. There's been a lot of comments about the Michael Steelman case, but if people do have questions about process, they can feel free to reach out to my office to give me a call to talk about that. But just a reminder, the council can't deliberate or discuss things that aren't on the agenda, so that might be an area where they could get more information by contacting me directly at the city manager's office.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Let's go to council reports. We'll start with Councilmember White.
Okay, so let's see. We had a disaster preparedness event out in North Arcata. We had over 150 people come. which was apropos in the midst of that extreme weather event. We gave out a ton of supplies. We had guest speakers to include our very own earthquake tsunami expert, Lori Dengler. We also have another event coming up on Saturday at 11, where we will have a shiny red fire truck bringing in Santa. We'll have free photos, and we'll be making decorating cookies and ornaments for the children. So do come at 4700 Valley East Boulevard. And I also attended an open house for the Loft luxury apartments out on Valley East Boulevard. So if you haven't checked them out, they're pretty nice. And there's a chamber mixer on Thursday at Redwood Capital Bank, which is located on G Street at 5:30. And I think that's all I have.
Thank you. So I was going to mention the Redwood Capital Bank is going to have the mixer this Thursday, which is tomorrow night from 5:30 to 7. And one of the things they're asking is to bring an unwrapped toy for a child. So I just wanted to add that part to it. I have a couple of things. One is I'm looking forward to the time when the Historic Landmarks Committee will be able to bring forward the historic context statement. They've been deliberating on that for quite some time, and I would like to see if we can't get that brought forward soon. And I also had an HTA meeting this morning, and part of the discussion was, we thank you for writing a letter, City Manager Perry, to HTA asking about the transfer for the rest of our system to go over. It turns out that we probably should really look at this transfer system within the context of the rest of the year up until the end of our fiscal year. And we were notified today that Vance, who works down at the Transit Center, would be terminated or no longer needed, I guess terminated is one word, at the end of this month. Yet we won't have HTA will not have a meeting until February, and they won't be able to even do all the analysis. So I'm hoping there'll be some rethinking of that and maybe a possibility of continuing to have something of that nature. One of the things that the Transit Center is really important for is the drivers. They come in the morning. They go in and turn off the alarm. They can use the bathroom. They have 5 minutes usually between when they pull in before they have to leave again. And if their last trip comes through at night, they turn the alarm on before they leave. But also, every day we have between 3 and 4 people that come from Pelican Bay, and they're dropped off at the transfer station or the transit system. And they are given a set of clothes that they have on and $200 in cash. And to get on to the bus, not HTA, but to get on to whatever it is, the one that goes down to the Bay Area, they have to go and have a card. They have to get a card. So Vance has to send them over to CVS to take their $200 and to get a card so that they can use that on the bus. And I'm thinking that this is sort of a valuable service that Vance has been providing, and that we should really consider that. And I think it's important for us too, for HTA and the City of Arcata to be in a partnership. And if Vance were to be terminated at the end of this month, the HTA does not have the facilities or the possibility to actually to take on all the calls, to staff the office. They can't do anything. So I'm hoping you can really, it sort of threw things up in the air when they're going, oh my gosh, this is all happening, and yet we just got this letter to start an analysis, and then you're doing the termination. So I had to bring that forward, and because that's my job, is to keep things going smoothly. Also, I saw an email today that the engineering department is working about otter that we have down on South I Street, and we have otter crossings. We have a lot of otters that live down there and cross the streets, and they're really worried about the number that have been killed recently. And so we're going to have some signs saying otter crossing and et cetera, trying to preserve that population that we have in our natural environment. And thank you. I think that's all.
Could I add something? I forgot that, yeah, we are accepting unwrapped gifts for the children in North Arcata, so feel free to bring one. And also, I forgot, I had the honor to also attend today the Humboldt Equity Council today.
I don't have much other to say that I was also appointed to the Presidential Advisory Committee with Cal Poly Humboldt, and that was a really interesting meeting, and I really appreciate the willingness to deepen the relationship that the university has with the city, and I'm really looking forward to more robust conversations. I already have a meeting with Mark Johnson set up for next week, so I'm really looking forward to getting some things moving.
Yesterday, I was invited by one of the union business agents in our area to attend and observe one of their MC3 training programs at Jefferson Community Center in Eureka, and it's a collaboration of unions and also Cal Poly Humboldt to try to get. There was people that are formerly incarcerated, other people that just, looking for good jobs, a diverse range of people, women, to get into the trades industry, construction and trades. And that was, it was good to observe and see all the people learning and the hope. So I appreciated that invitation. And then I did get a reach out right before the meeting. I'm going to grab my phone. Kind of on Merritt, what you were saying regarding the send-off. The Arcata High is actually going to the section championships, whatever, and it's the highest we've gone, I think, ever.
It's the first round of the state finals.
Yeah, state finals.
One section.
Yeah, and so my text said that they were leaving on Friday morning, but you're saying it's tomorrow morning?
Friday.
Is it Friday? Okay, so that Friday at 9:30, they're going to leave the school, and they're wanting people to line up on 16th Street, from 16th Street down H Street to get to the highway. So they're asking for a lot of people to line 16th and H, but just to give them a send-off. It's an exciting thing. So if we could try to get that out on our social media and rally people to make an orange and black sign and go Tigers and get out there. I think that would mean a lot to the kids, so.
They're coming down from the high school on
school.
16th, and then they'll go onto the freeway?
I think they're gonna go down H, they said. I think so they want to come, because it
Down
said
and go around the
16th
plaza?
to H.
Go around the plaza, perhaps?
Do you know what our police are planning to do?
I don't know. They just got the request, I think, today, and they were working it out, so I don't have the details.
Yeah, so
unfortunately.
at least in the morning, like Friday morning, go up to 16th Street and see what's happening up there, and then we can fan out from there. So, yeah, thank you.
I don't have much to report. Our CEA, I reported on last time and it hasn't happened since. And then we had our first Equity Arcata meeting with our new Equity Arcata manager, Mo. Just really exciting to have her on the team. She's bringing a lot of great knowledge and expertise and energy as well. And, really just both getting involved in the community side of things, looking at the city side of things, and then also working with the university and really, excited to hit the ground running. And working with the university going into their new semester. So all to really report there, not much happened besides just, a lot of housekeeping and discussion and just really, orienting her to the board and what we do and what she wants to get done. So it was really exciting and great conversation. So that's all I have.
I'm really sorry, I have one more thing. If you want a $2,000 free e-bike, the California e-bike just released, so on the 18th, they're giving away money, and you can couple it with the RCEA e-bike. So y'all can check that out.
Anybody else have anything to add? All right, great. So it's now time for early oral communication. So this is a 15-minute period and speakers are limited to 2 minutes. If you prefer to have a full 3 minutes, I will let you know. I see there is a lot of people out here and I appreciate that everybody wants to make comments. We have a very, very short agenda. There's literally just the consent calendar. So I'm going to take the first 4 people. Are the yellow cards the ones that are first? Green. So the number 1 through 4 with the green cards, please line up now. And we'll then take some people on Zoom, and then we can come right back right after consent calendar and hear the rest of you. I really appreciate you being here. And let's go ahead. First speaker.
Hi, my name's Elizabeth, and I don't have a prepared speech, and I'm not going to scream at you, and I'm not going to read something someone else wrote off my phone. In fact, I was busy painting, but I just decided to take this opportunity to come and thank you for the awesome job that you do. I'm just so impressed by how you conduct business in the face of such hostile discourse that I've been hearing. It's so alarming to me, the tenor of speakers. And I just came to show you love and appreciation and thank you for taking the high ground. And thank you for not succumbing to mob rule and just being so awesome. I don't think I could handle it, and I admire you, and thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Paul Patino. I want to start with asking for us to look at a sister city in Gaza. We have the practice of having sister city in Camhuapa, Nicaragua. It's done. We have the experience of doing that. Now let's do that for a city in Gaza so that we can help it stop the killing. And I think it would be a great step. We're progressive, and it would be a real progressive step to try to intervene in a small way with the killing of Palestinians and Israelis. Part of having a sister city is somebody has to go there and connect. And there are people in the community that want to do that, unafraid, wanting to go to Gaza for us. So all you have to do is say, hey, we'd like to have a sister city, stick it on the agenda, and they'll show up. And then we can figure out the logistics after. So thank you. I hope you consider that.
Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Sean. I'm very grateful to have this opportunity to address you guys today. And I also want to say I'm grateful to come out here and see all the other good work that different people are involved in here in this space. So my intention of making this public comment is to raise the possibility of a sister city in Palestine, and certainly the importance of this seems to be growing by the day. We can create the context for peace. A lot of people don't remember the history of the municipalism. It's a long history, over 100 years, and the idea it predates the League of Nations, which predates the United Nations. So even before we had the League of Nations, we had this format for creating the context for peace, where cities use their power as a ability to relate to other cities. So we won't wait to formalize a sister city in order to begin providing humanitarian medical aid. We have been building connections and coalition, and we will continue to do so. We'll host local events and raise money, and we've been in touch with various communities locally, including spiritual communities such as Quakers, Unitarians, Muslims, Jewish folks. We have made contact with international aid organizations that are keen to support our work. Also, internationally renowned personalities who are willing to address our community and support this idea. So
Thank you
come to
for
Palestine
your
Talking
comment.
Corner Saturdays and check us out.
Okay, we'll take one more, and then we'll go to Zoom.
Hello, my name is Naomi Garcia, and I'm here on behalf of the migrant community in Humboldt County and on behalf of Centro del Pueblo. I'll be reading a letter that we have composed together. City of Arcata. We come to you in the wake of an election run on lies about immigrant communities that will likely result in countless human rights violations against this vulnerable population. Centro del Pueblo is a group built on organized care and respect for Humboldt's indigenous immigrant community. We came to you before and appreciate the contribution of funds to Centro del Pueblo for security cameras and signage. We are still afraid for our safety in this climate of escalated rhetoric. Already, we have received messages of hate online from members of the Humboldt community, calling us slurs and hoping for the day they can, quote, take back the garden Centro del Pueblo stole from the town. That is how some of our neighbors feel about us. Additionally, our cameras have shown an increase in foot traffic in the garden at night that we cannot be sure is friendly. We will not wait for another attack to occur. We are asking for proactive steps to be taken to ensure Arcata and Humboldt is a safe space for immigrant communities. In a changing political climate, with a president-elect who has openly and repeatedly threatened to re-implement one of the most invasive and destructive deportation programs in American history, the garden's future is uncertain. So we must act to protect this sacred space. We ask the city of Arcata to join us in affirming our place in this community that we love, despite continued attacks on El Jardín Santuario. We ask the city to work in cooperation with us, Centro del Pueblo, in a campaign for the first 40 days of 2025 in the following ways. 1, release a citywide...
I'm so sorry, that's 2 minutes. You can give the rest of your speech to someone else and they can finish it for you, because
Thank
we
you.
want to hear the rest
Thank
of
you
it.
so much.
We're going to pause and we're going to go to take some comments on, actually, you know what? Thank you.
All right, thank you. My name is Peyton. In the following ways. Number 1, release a citywide declaration reaffirming our sanctuary status and commitment to Measure K, the Humboldt County Sanctuary Ordinance. Number 2, develop a clear process for defining, identifying, and addressing hate crimes in Arcata. Number 3, contribute funds to assist undocumented community members in obtaining documents such as birth certificates and ID cards. Number 4, support our efforts to communicate with Arcata City Police Department, urging them to publicly affirm their commitment to Measure K and their policy of not cooperating with ICE. And 5, addressing existing racism in the schools districts by developing anti-racist policies in Arcata public schools. Members of the Latina community have been attacked verbally and physically in your city. Centro del Pueblo has endured hate crimes for taking an unwavering stance on respect and honoring the human rights of indigenous migrants. We continue to choose kindness and love for our community that we hope and know can be better. Our choice to continue our work in Arcata is an act of peaceful defiance to those who wish to see us leave. We hope and earnest that we can work together and show that a united front can withstand whatever hardships may arise in the years to come. Thank you.
Thank you. Excuse me, can I just ask, do you have a copy of that you can leave with our city clerk? I appreciate that. All right, we are going to go to Zoom.
Mayor Matthews, can I just make one comment and just kind of direct the speaker that, this is another item where they could come to the city manager and we certainly could talk and help to coordinate with the police. And that also, there was a resolution at the last council meeting that did reaffirm the sanctuary city status. So take a look at the last meeting minutes, and I just wanted to put that out there.
It's in the Mad River Union too. All right, we will take 4 commenters on Zoom and then move on.
Sarai, please go ahead.
Hey everyone. Yeah, I just super appreciate folks' comments, and I have to talk loud enough to hear over the beating of my heart in my ears and in my throat. But I want to try to maintain a tone that is acceptable. It's difficult because while we're trying to figure out how to work within our communities, how to face what's her bucket set up there, how to face different things going on, how to work with the community, while we're trying to do that within our own communities, trying to figure out, anti-Black policies, trying to navigate anti-Latina policies and how those intertwine. See, I'm getting excited already because I have passion. Because my tone follows the urgency of the issue. And I just want to say that while we're discussing kindness and while we're discussing things about decorum in the meetings and things about that kind of thing, people are having to deal with like racist comments in their gardens. And then people are having to go and figure out like how to rectify different things and different ways that harm has been caused. It's very tricky to think about your tone and how to not make people like upset and scared, especially when y'all are about to go into your equity meetings and try to work on the very issues we've been discussing without us. Thank goodness.
Thank you so much for your comments.
Ellen, please go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
Can you hear? Okay, thank you. Yeah, so glad to see this human rights proclamation tonight. That's awesome. I assume this was a result of so many of your community members sharing with you how Zionists have been stalking, harassing, and doxing Palestinian residents and their supporters, right? And that you will now specifically denounce the anti-Palestinian racist hate and Israeli propaganda that's been spewed in this chamber as you sit there and say, thank you. And that you will be holding your racist, brutally violent police force accountable for their actions in the community. And you'll be responding to that letter from Central del Pueblo, right? That's what all that means, right? But why have three of you opposed a sister city in Palestine? Why haven't you explained to us, despite our repeated questions, why you can't support a sister city in Palestine? And why are you referring to anger as a problem? A whole feeling is now outlawed in Arcata? Daniel Tiger teaches preschoolers that all feelings are okay. And righteous anger is a natural and expected reaction to witnessing you all sit here week after week, ignoring our pleas to make the city actually safe for everyone. So I would really like a response. I know that the city manager said you can't respond, but you guys respond all the time to public comments, so that doesn't make any sense. Please respond to specifically what it is that you are referring to in your proclamation. Please denounce anti-Palestinian racist hate in the city. Please explain to your residents why you have ignored our pleas to hold your police force accountable. Please explain to us how you are going to make them uphold this human rights proclamation.
Thank you for your comments.
Eden, please go ahead.
Okay. All right. I had to unmute. Yeah. I want to talk about 5 key factors that create a Renaissance society. It's economic prosperity, sustainable urbanization, humanistic values, technological advancements, and cultural exchange. It does not come about from people who do not know who their own mountain and their own waters are, inserting themselves into our MENA, Middle Eastern, North African region. If you don't know who you are, European Americans in Arcata, don't butt in to the Levant HaYehudim and Arabic people's affairs. Mind your own backyard. Your country in Europe is all kind of messy, but you over here stay sitting in American stolen land trying to talk about our tribal war over there when your own backyard is on fire. Me, myself, as an auntie and an elder in this community, a member of the Native American Church, an Aloha Aina person who has Kuleana and Hawaii Ne, say to all you young people, you're too busy pointing your finger and not busy enough taking care of the Mauna and the Vai. When you learn how to take care of the mountain and the water, you'll be too busy to be a victim, too busy to sit here and have hurt feelings. toughen up and make a renaissance happen, because the other side of a revolution is nuclear warfare, and you all better get straight on that quick. This is our community that we built as a rainbow coalition 50 years ago. Everybody came together for back to the land. And now you want to shout all these things that have caused nothing but disunity and disharmony in our community. Stop harassing Jews. Stop using language and rhetoric that hurts the MENA region. Our indigenous people are the ones that have the right to talk about things in the Middle East, not you.
Thank
I'm
you
done.
for your comments. All right, we'll take one more on Zoom.
Tamara, please go ahead.
Hello, sorry, that took a second. Yes, I just wanted to second the motion that we just heard about. The problem really with the Middle East should stay in the Middle East, and I don't understand why it's in our community. We have a lot of intimidation happening from the pro-Palestinian side of local Jews, and that affects me personally and many people I know. And, you know, you can't really pretend that there's racism against Palestinians when the people who are pro-Palestinian or call themselves pro-Palestinian are actually anti-Israel and anti-Jewish. So to me, this is something that needs to be solved in our community. It shouldn't be blamed on a whole group of people halfway across the world.
And stop harassing Jewish businesses. You can call it Zionist, you can call this your anti-Semitic group of people, and I have nothing to do. You have nothing to do with a Palestinian. I have nothing against Palestinian. Palestinians are beautiful people, but you are not. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. We just have the consent calendar, and then we're going to come right back to public comment. Very short meeting, in theory. All right. All matters on the consent calendar are considered to be routine by the City Council and are enacted in one motion. There is no separate discussion of any of these items. If discussion is required, that item is removed from the consent calendar and considered separately. A is approval of minutes of the City Council meeting of November 20th, 2024. B is biweekly report on disbursements. C is adopt resolution number 245-16, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Arcata amending the class and pay resolution, compensation and benefits for hourly rated, part-time, temporary, and seasonal personnel. D, authorize operating subsidy loans to Homekey Partners, Arcata Valley West Boulevard LLC, and The Grove at Valley West LLC in an amount not to exceed $260,000 total, and find this action to be accepted from the California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA. Would any council members like to pull anything off the agenda?
I'd like to pull item, is it D? Is that the last one?
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, we have a request to pull item D. Do I have a motion for the rest of
I'll make a motion to approve A, B, and C.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, let's take public comment on items A through C. Okay, all in favor? Aye. All right, Kimberly.
Just a real quick question, David. I know that the loan amount says it's 128,000 and some odd. Is that times two? One for each?
No, that's in total the amount that we have. I'm sorry, it's up to each. So we have $260,000 in PLHA funds, the Permanent Local Housing Allocation Funds, that we have to spend by April of next year. And so the idea here would be to really, approve an amount up to that for them on each of those based on the terms that are in the discussion.
So we're not splitting the 128. Each of them will get up to that amount.
Correct.
Okay, and if we don't use it, we lose it. So that was all I wanted to clarify, is it, because it wasn't enough, and I wanted to make sure we utilized yeah. the entire, do you want to leave any money on the table?
Yeah, no, I think we're proposing to use the entirety of
Perfect.
the.
Thank you for that clarification.
Yep.
Do you have any public comment on item D of the consent calendar?
Consent calendar issue, but this item D and those monies, can it be part of that discussion that you were talking about, the different departments having a January 15th discussion? I'm trying to understand city monies going to entities, whether they're loans or grants, but funneled through the city. And I just would love better clarification on that for the future. I don't need it tonight, but I always see a lot of money and then I want to see a lot of results.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve item D.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that takes us to oral and written communication. So please line up and let's keep going. Go ahead, you have 3 minutes each.
Immigrants' rights are human rights. I think at this point we all recognize that. I appreciate your efforts, the statements, the Human Rights Commission coming today. It's a big sign, gives us hopes. Unfortunately, these times are coming with such a violence that we cannot repair anything with statements anymore. No more newspapers, no more pages or signs will prevent violence to happening. After some hours of the results of the elections, we have these hatreds on Facebook, these messages. In Arcata High School, it's been highlighted today for so many extraordinary things, and at the same time, hours after, one member of our community was attacked violently. She was hidden with racism. She was accused of being what Trump says we are. And we won't allow that. This letter is a sign that we want to bring you some actions. After a few hours that we published that letter, over 100 people that is willing to share their contacts with the city, with Equity Arcata, with Centro del Pueblo to move forward, are signing this. And we are willing to share this information once you have a clear pathway, because that's why we choose you, because you want to facilitate that pathway for us to have a better city. We want to please address point number 5. The violence on schools is impossible to bear. I don't want to see more mothers coming to Centro del Pueblo in crying because their daughters are being beaten up. I don't want to see more children crying in our gatherings, children of 12 to 15 years old, because they are being followed at the bathrooms, they are being beaten up. This violence that we only see in these contexts. Please help us. We are willing to do the actions, even though we have to live without this burden one day. We are willing to work for it. Because for us, immigrants' rights are human rights, and it's not a month. It's the way we live, because we believe on it, because we advocate for it, because we want one day to declare this is a sanctuary and not only a refuge, but a way to live in peace. Because we want to see more sanctuary gardens, and we want to see the businesses and the houses with signs saying, immigrants are welcome here. This is a free land. Please help us. I have so many, emotions, but also a hope, because some of you have been with us, learning our history, learning our ways to advocate, learning how we organize over these months. So please join us, and please let us join you in these actions. More actions, less statements, please. I'm begging.
Thank you. Okay, let's please hold our applause. Thank you.
I just want to invite really quick to this Friday. We're going to have an event, Leading for Women, Immigrant Women. You're going to learn about histories as immigrant, and it will lovely if I can see women supporting women. Thank you. And it's at Morris Graves Museum this Friday 6, starting 5 to 7 p.m. So I hope to see you there.
Thank you.
You all probably know we're the Humboldt Raging Grannies.
And we have a song, you know, that's what we do. There you are, okay. Whatever reasons families have come here, let's find a way to help them stay. With all the was now, they make us stronger. Do not send our neighbors away. Support the immigrants, yes, all the immigrants. We are all one community. We understand that the combination of our cultures creates prosperity. My parents came here for opportunity to make a home and better life. Now others come here for security, to escape from hatred and strife. Support the immigrants, yes, all the immigrants. We are all one community. We understand that the combination of our cultures creates prosperity. Let's thank the immigrants, yes, all us immigrants, for our hard work has made us great. And in the future, working together, we'll have justice and turn away the hate. This is my home now, this is my country. It's here I live and here I'll stay. I have a life here and a good future. Do not send my family away.
Thank you.
Hello. My name is Pat, and I'm coming here in support of Sister City. I stood in the plaza with Sean to get signatures, and it's a place where people can also come and discuss Palestine. I must say I'm happy with all the people who stopped by with their support. It's overwhelming, and very few are in denial of the ongoing genocide and the ethnic cleansing. But even so, I was dismayed and frustrated that people who see the statistics of the ongoing deaths in Gaza and the West Bank refuse to see an annihilation of a people. And I've been a nurse for 40 years, and I'm used to taking care of the most vulnerable. So I'm used to other people not seeing what I'm seeing, but it's all over with the bombings and the burnings. And I'm a member of Jewish Voices for Peace. I'm also a member of Healthcare Workers for Palestine. And I've read and I've seen everything that the doctors and the nurses have talked about. And all I can say is, please support a Sister City, because it seems like the big countries of this world, the money countries, the wealthy countries, are not supporting the vulnerable people, and the poor countries are, and that's the way it seems all the time. So I'm asking Arcata, please support a Sister City, and also all of the vulnerable people, all the immigrants and people of color. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Greg Bonagura. I live here in Arcata. I'm a nurse. I'm also a poet and activist. I go by Greg B. Poetry. People may have seen my stickers on poles. Mayor Winkler likes to scrape them off. So our community, I want to say thank you to these people bringing song into these halls. I feel like Judy Berry is alive again. She used to sing her songs in these halls. Maybe not this one specifically. I know Humboldt County, she sang there. All of our troubles here as a community, one thing, The word is colonialism. It started long before any of us were born. I was reminded of this because Leonard Peltier, if you're not familiar, has been in federal penitentiary for 47 years. I'm 40 years old, my whole life. If you're younger than me, every moment you've been alive, he's been in a cell. And he spoke through his advisor at Alcatraz on this past Thursday, which is Indigenous Peoples' Day of Mourning. Here we may call it Thanksgiving. And the word is clear, is that he is a free man, and his nation is free, and we're all free. As long as we have our breath, we're alive. And there's no difference between the violence we see in the garden, which I love your garden, and I remember when it was revitalized by y'all, and we raised some money for that. The violence there is the same as the violence we see on the plaza still, even after we came here and asked for some police insight into it. Thank you, Sarah, for whatever you've done since then. However, it remains as I spoke to a gentleman just a week ago, telling me his account of police demanding they give him his hoodie on a rainy night. And when he didn't comply with giving him his hoodie, right, they slammed him to the ground. Not having a hoodie if you live on the street means death in this weather right now. So death, violence, we're talking about state violence, colonialism still happening. My family comes from Sicily to the United States a long time ago. We all come from other places, a lot of us. Those of us who don't come from other places, we're indigenous to this land, and the border moves south of us, so we become something else, illegal or something. But we're all held by this planet Earth. Judy Barry would sing that. And Leonard Peltier, his niece lives here in Humboldt. She does amazing work as a social worker. I'm a nurse, and we made a connection because Leonard spoke through his spiritual advisor to the people gathered at Alcatraz. And I just invite you to join me across the street at Culture Shrooms. We're having an open mic right now. The Renaissance our elder was speaking of is happening now. The Arcata Renaissance is here. And now we're going to sing more songs of freedom, and we're going to overthrow these oppressive systems just by stepping out of them and not interacting. This is not real. What's real? This is Earth.
Thank you.
Buenas tardes a todos. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Graciela Leal, and I'm wearing many hats. I first want to start off by inviting everybody to come to the Migrant Rights Come and Know Your Rights, December 14th from 1 to 5 p.m. on 11th Street, the First Presbyterian Church. You can learn more on the Centro del Pueblo page on Instagram. And there's also going to be a DACA training on December 7th at Cal Poly. I also want to speak to the City Council to put to the agenda what you plan to do on the rights of unhoused folks. We have seen the tyranny of our governor, Newsom, who has been sweeping camps and saying that, and how the Supreme Court has said that it is the right to arrest these just because they are on the street. It's like, where are they going to be staying in the cold and the rain? And then they get their property stolen. It's like one of the fundamental things here in our country is property rights, and their things are being taken. I went to Eureka yesterday on 8th Street and 2nd Street. Cops were there sweeping, taking the mattresses, the covers, the tents, throwing them all away, displacing people. And where do they go? They just have to find another place and have to collect more resources from the community and on their own. So I just want to hear this city, this council to take action and denounce that and say that we are going to protect people, unhoused people. They have a right to exist, a right to live with dignity, and to stop being harassed. I also want to say that we shouldn't be policing them, and we shouldn't be policing people that are trying to help them on the plaza here, as we've seen, and like people of color being arrested. And I also want to take my last seconds to say that we must always denounce bigotry, racism, and lies. That is something that we should always stand for the truth. No matter, and we shouldn't be platforming people that are always spewing hate and lies. And I'm gonna say that on November 30th, when we were celebrating Los Días de los Muertos en la plaza in Eureka, Tamar and her husband with her daughter were harassing our Palestinian fellow when we were trying to honor their fellow people that have passed away. So, thank you.
Good evening to the mayor, the city council members, the staff, and the public. My name is Rainer Shea, and I'm here to speak in support of Arcata entering into a sister city partnership with Gaza City. The activists from the Redwood Peace and Justice Coalition are right to have proposed this idea. It's something that's already been done in Boulder, Colorado, and if more cities follow Boulder's example, this will act to help bring an end to the death and suffering within Gaza. At the minimum, it will contribute to a healing process where the people of the United States show that we view the Palestinians as human beings, which will impede the efforts of the many political actors, both in Israel and in the United States, who don't see Palestinians as humans and want to keep collectively punishing them. Thank you to the mayor, the council, the staff, and all others who've listened. I hope that this step towards restorative justice gets taken.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Alice Finan, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak tonight. I am really interested in this human rights proclamation, and I want to know what tangible action we're going to take with this proclamation. What are we going to do to protect our immigrants and our houseless community, our Black community, our Indigenous community, our Palestinian community? When we talk about hate speech, what action are we going to take to stop that? I was at a protest at the Humboldt County Courthouse, and our assistant DA was there, Roger Reese. He's counter-protesting every single time we are standing up for the liberation of Palestine, no matter where we are or what event we're having. He's always there. And at this time, he told me that there was no such thing as a Palestinian. It's impossible for my dear, dear friends, children, and loved ones. It's impossible that they're Palestinian American because Palestinians don't exist. I've heard Tamar's daughter say that. Palestinians aren't real, Palestine isn't real. So that's happening in our county. At the last protest that I was at, I was called a Nazi by a 12-year-old boy who was counter-protesting our protest to stand up on the Day of Solidarity with our Palestinian community. So what action are we going to take? I appreciate the city manager saying that I need to email him to talk about actions or putting items on the agenda, because I thought us coming to you and asking over and over, and many people asking over and over that would happen. So now I know what route to take. Thank you for that. I will be emailing you about our racist police and about, I guess, maybe emailing him about taking action to get a sister city going, because last night I was looking on Instagram and I saw that Israeli soldiers shot a 2-year-old in the heart. They're attacking babies, shooting babies in the head. So this is urgent. We have to do everything that we can because we have Palestinian people here. We have immigrants here that need protection. So that's tangible action that would go along with our proclamation that you just shared with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Joanne McGarry. I come here often. I like to talk in threes. I was taught that if you see something, say something. And beyond that, do something. So you see something, say something, and have something get done about it. So what's been happening tonight is people are saying things of what they're seeing. And it's up to all of us and you as our representatives to lead us in doing something about all this. On a minor note, I walk around town all the time, which is why I'm dressed in orange so I can be seen at night, if you're wondering about my outfit, but also because I see things minorly, hazards in the sidewalk, and I say something, and something got done actually because I said something that had been 2 years in getting done, and it was actually putting up a sign that said, pointed the direction to downtown Arcata over on Samoa Boulevard. 2 years that sign was not taken care of. But getting back to doing something, we did a resolution on a ceasefire here in March. The glass finally broke because I carry it around so much, but what was not in this ceasefire and what many of us wanted was an arms embargo. Stop. We want to resolve that the United States stop sending money and weapons to Israel to shoot children in the head and the heart. Okay, let's add that to that resolution. That's something you can do. I also reminded you of the altruistic personality and the O-liners who were professors on campus. And they talked about people who were bystanders and people who did something. We need to be a community that does something for the immigrant community here and for people far away. And finally, let us become an international city of peace. Let us join the Nonviolent City Project, and let's take that Charter for Compassion and sign on to it so we can be a peaceful, nonviolent, compassionate place and aspire to be that and work with other communities so we're not standing alone trying to figure out how can we do this. We can do it as a group with a bunch of people. Peace, nonviolence, compassion. And gentle anger is a really good emotion, okay?
Thank you.
Good evening, Bob Rottenberg, Arcata resident. I came here this evening in support of the sanctuary and our friends who have put so much effort into that garden, that beautiful garden, and whose, as a result of this latest election, I think whose lives are really threatened. So I came here this evening in support of anything that can be done to keep them safe because they are members of our community. I also want to say something about this sanctuary city idea. I think it's a great idea. And I think that maybe you might, with your blessing, have somebody from the folks who are really interested in this go to Gaza and see what they can do and come back with a report so that a proposal could be made to you that is clear, not just we want to be a sanctuary city, but to say here are the steps that can be taken. Here are the people over there who want to come here and be part of an exchange. Right now, this is an idea that needs some status, some standing behind it. So if the folks who are supporting this were to come to you and say, would it be okay with you if we go to Gaza and come back with a report? I think that might be a wonderful idea. And I also wanted to just go on the record about the concept of Palestinians not existing. The word Palestine comes from the word Philistine. And if you read in the Bible, there's a story about the Philistines who lived there the same time that King David lived there, and those two groups were constantly at each other's throats. If you remember the story about Samson, right? Samson actually was captured by the Philistines and was put to death by them. So they've been around thousands and thousands of years. So this idea that the Palestinians don't exist is wrong. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Do we have any more in-person comments? We will not be going back and forth. Let's go to Zoom.
Carpani, please go ahead. Carpani, it looks like, oh,
Okay, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
yes.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I would like to talk about this so-called Human Rights Awareness Month proclamation, which to me it sounds purely performative. It begins referencing the UN Assembly adoption of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights in 1948, which details by articles the rights each person shall enjoy. Yet this document details no particular rights to be protected or acknowledged, but instead details the things that we, the residents, must do. Number one, all residents educate themselves about the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Number two, value the privileges and freedoms that we enjoy. Number three, promote engagement in causes that promote the rights and welfare of all members of this community. And the council advocates for special civic engagement to occur, personal reflection to take place, continue efforts to educate the public, and community effort to use kindness instead of hate. But nowhere in this document is the UN Assembly Proclamation mentioned again, except where we residents should educate ourselves about it. So I did. I read the preamble to the end, all 30 articles. And the first thing I learned was that a proclamation is ceremonial document that does not have any legislative value, and B, are an effective tool for gaining public recognition of your event because it carries the full support of a key government official. So in the end, this so-called proclamation reads kind of like blah, blah to me, and only infers that the council's due diligence towards honoring or protecting human rights, which stands out where in the UN Assembly document uses the word shall when referencing the honoring of those rights, and whereas the city council chooses the word should, and I find that interesting. So I can't help noticing that so many people are literally begging for ceasefire and arms embargo and sanctions against the Zionist state and the rights of Palestinians to live and to be free of fear stands out savagely in this moment and in that context. So there's also hearing the people from Centro de Fuego speak. I'm realizing there's no mention of protecting our commitment to sanctuary city status, the Measure K, or the rights of Centro del Pueblo people, or any people that we've been talking about. People here have...
Thank you for your comments.
Action.
Ramira, please go ahead.
Tonight, I'd mainly like to address City Council Member Alex in the spirit of getting to know one another. P.S. Sorry I couldn't make it in person again. Aw. Alrighty. Dear Alex Stillman, I'd like to introduce myself once again. I'm a white transgender woman from white Mexican and Guatemalan immigrant parents. I came to this town about 2.5 years ago for grad school. I'm a microbial ecologist, and I usually focus my work on the relationships between plants and microorganisms, and how their relationships are impacted by climate catastrophes, extinction, and the world around them. Before I was a scholar, I was once 10 years old in Texas, sharing a bunk bed with my 12-year-old brother. When we were woken up at 3 a.m. by bright lights behind the blinds of our windows. Upon peeking through, they revealed to us military-grade weaponry in our faces. My brother rushed to wake and tell our parents, and my dad's first words upon waking were, "It's ICE." Immigration police had come for my dad, taking him away from all of us, away from my brother, from my mom, from my 1-year-old baby sister, ripping us from him. None of us knew we didn't have to open the door. The trauma from that night and those 3 years lingers in my family in many ways. Still, it's known that immigrants of color, especially Indigenous and Black Indigenous peoples, face the largest anti-immigrant brutality. I am in full solidarity with El Centro del Pueblo's letter and urge y'all to stand in solidarity with El Centro as well. Still, neither my professional training can replace listening and learning from other experts, nor should my personal struggles stop me from learning about the struggles of other people. As a scientist and educator, I hold power. As city council member, Alex, you too hold power. It is our duty to listen to communities we serve. Humboldt's Black and Palestinian community have been so vocal of their demands. So what I need to see here is that you need to show accountability, proof, and receipts to your constituents demanding the charges dropped on Big Mike, to address the dangerous Zionists in our town espousing anti-Palestinian racism and harassing local Palestinians. And as your own constituent, I'm actually so serious about the homework when I said you need to read a book on the Palestinians.
Thank you for your comments.
Jean, please go ahead.
Thank you. 3 things. Well, one, I'll say I stand in solidarity with Central del Pueblo's letter and our immigrant community and concrete protections needed for them. Let's do that. Number 2, on what date will the charges against our Black community member and Cal Poly student be dropped? He deserves a bright future, unmarred by this unnecessary and really quite violent arrest as witnessed by many on the plaza. Please do address this with an update. I will email as well. I uplift Fred Hampton and Mark Clark, both killed on this day, I believe, in 1969 by the Chicago Police Department, and all of the good work that they did as Black Panthers, and someone else referenced it. So I uplift the Rainbow Coalition, and that work includes Palestinians. 3, what is the update on bringing the Arcata city into compliance with what the World Court says is law of the land, boycott, divest, sanction? I'm referring to divesting from racist, violent apartheid Israel, like was done by the international community regarding apartheid South Africa, which as a result of that divestment dissolved. It is flawed today, but it dissolved in around 1992, and it is no longer apartheid. Hallelujah. Let's do it. Aside from the fact that Arcata divesting can save our Palestinian Palestinian constituents' family members' lives, which is why we're yelling, is because it's like a bus is barreling down over the lives of our family members, and that's the same exact thing you would do. Your hair would be on fire too. It's no disrespect to you. The disrespect is your investment in apartheid. Aside from the fact that it would make save our families' lives, it would bring congruency to the statements that have been touted here. Racist apartheid is violent, and so if you want nonviolence, never mind the kindness and the tranquility, let's take that action. I'm looking, after all, at a charred toddler right now and 6 dead babies that were just the tip of the iceberg of the dead from yesterday alone and today alone, murdered with all of our U.S. tax dollars. This is city business. Apartheid Israel is carrying out a genocide affirmed by today's Amnesty International report. You can read it, as well as the South Africa case at the ICJ. Their incredible catalog of evidence is available to you for your review, as to all the public. That is if you're not watching the sadist extermination, destruction, and ecocide that affects every one of us right here in Arcata on live stream. Juice speak to this by providing any dates this council's actions have been taken to divest from both apartheid, any weapons companies, anyone who is a part of racialized, capitalized violence via U.S. militarism and our proxies like Israel. Number 4, I think it is, I emailed 2 of the council members at least 2 weeks ago about the anti-Palestinian racism training held by Jamila. Please do say and commit, if you'll commit to attend this crucial training, which could save the life of a Palestinian in your community. This is anti-Palestinian, anti-Arab, and anti-Muslim, a racist climate that's impacting your...
Thank you for your comments.
Amy BW, go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Amy Bull-Wickland. I'm an Arcata resident and homeowner and the parent of a Cal Poly student. There have been so many great comments here tonight, and I want to amplify and echo my support for them. Everything said in Centro del Pueblo's letter, Gaza City as a sister city, concerns about the safety and dignity of our unhoused residents and our local immigrant community, concerns about anti-Palestinian racism, which we do see on the streets of Arcata and Eureka all the time. The need for concrete action to follow from these proclamations for human rights and community values of equity and diversity. I also need to say that voicing support for the people of Palestine and for local Palestinian Americans is not anti-Semitic. It's not anti-Semitic to criticize apartheid and genocide. I look forward to hearing substantive answers on January 15th. Thank you.
Thank you.
I apologize if I'm mispronouncing your name, but Gianni, please go ahead.
Hi, thank you. Yeah, it's Jahan. It was so hard to listen to this proclamation for human rights that was made at the beginning of this meeting. When for over a year, you've had people in your chamber begging you to acknowledge the gross human rights violations that have now been recognized by the same courts and systems that created the Geneva Convention and established basic human rights for everyone on the globe. The ICC has issued arrest warrants for Netanyahu and Yoav Gallant. There's a clear precedent that continues to be ignored for supporting humanitarian efforts in Gaza. And it is shocking to me that it's not shocking because I see this every 2 weeks when I have the pleasure, displeasure, privilege of watching your faces and seeing you say one thing and do another in your community here. But it is just fascinating to me that we would have the audacity to make a proclamation of support of global human rights and include that we need to be kind and peaceful. It shows a total lack of understanding of what happens when basic human rights are denied to people. And it makes your privilege very clear to those of us who don't have the same privilege, be it immigrant community, be it the Black community, be it the Arab American community, be it, the queer community. Our we don't have that privilege. We understand what happens when our basic human rights are denied. And so to ask us to be not angry, to tone police us when we beg for basic human rights, be it in policing on Arcata's Plaza or in the divestment of city funds.
Thank you for your comments.
Call in user 2, please go ahead. It looks like they might have taken their hand down. Call in user 2, please go ahead. It looks like you may be muted. Please unmute yourself.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, my name's Tricia Murphy, and I'm here in support of the sister city. I would love to see this happen in Arcata. I think this is one very small gesture that we can do to try to start moving in the right direction with the people of Palestine. Our government has aided and abetted Israel in their slaughter of the Palestinian people, and it's wrong. And I think probably 80% of Americans know this by now. If you're trying to stand in the way of this sister city, if you're trying to run cover for Israel in any way, you're standing on the wrong side of history. I think for the people that showed up last week, and I was one of them, but there were several people that showed up that were not in support of the sister city, and I really had to ask myself why. And I think those people that don't want to see this happen are afraid of legitimizing the Palestinians. I think they don't want to legitimize these people, because once you do that, you have to also say we've slaughtered. There's a report out by the Lancet. We were at 187,000 a few months ago, and it's been a full-on slaughter since then. They predicted that by the first of the year, they will have killed almost half of the people in Gaza. There's no counters left. They've killed them all. There's no reporters left. They've killed close to 200 reporters. Israel is a rogue terrorist state. They've hitched their wagon to us via contributions they've made to our politicians. And not only are they destroying themselves, they're destroying the United States. They're destroying our standing in the world. They're dismantling international law. And I want to do everything I can as a citizen of America to let the people in Palestine know that I am not in support of that I do not support what my country and what Israel has done to them. And Sister City is the small gesture that we can do here in Arcata. Let's do it. Let's do it. And if you're still trying to stand in the way of that, you really you gotta understand you're on a sinking ship. This is the wrong place to be. And someday you'll have to answer to that, either to your grandchildren, your children, or to some higher power. But it's time. It's time. It's time to end the apartheid. It's time to reach out to Palestine.
Thank you for your comments.
I do not see any other hands raised.
All right, and that will conclude oral and written communication. Let's talk about dates of use. You have something to say? Let's talk about dates of future meetings. So we need to cancel the regular meeting of January 1st, 2025 at 6 p.m. due to the New Year's Day holiday. I think we need a motion for that. We don't need a motion? We're just going to cancel it.
Oh, okay.
All right, this meeting is
Adjourned.
Hold on, I have one more day.
No, I was just thinking you were going to say this meeting, you got this
I
thing.
I was taking the moment in. This meeting is adjourned.
You can always have this. Boy, I wish I had my computer so I could scroll around like you do. Oh, you have to listen to all this stuff.